So this is going to be a quick explanation of how I export in multiple scales for a pattern. So I'm in Illustrator and I'm going to export as PNG files that I can upload straight into Spoonflower. This is my pattern here. If you look on the layers palette, I've got this stuff completely separate. In fact, I'm even going to lock it. And my pattern is ready to go here. Now, the really important thing is first to make sure that it is in a group, or else the transform each will not work properly. So transform each you normally would find here under transform, and this is the shortcut. I'm pretty sure I'm the one who put that in, Command Option Shift D. I'm sure you probably know how to put in your own keyboard shortcuts, but just in case you don't remember, you just go to your keyboard shortcuts here, and that's a menu item. So you go to Menu Commands, and it was under Object, Transform, open up that folder and you'll see, and this is the shortcut. I may have overridden some other shortcut that had that. That's the one that I use quite frequently. And then the other one that I use a lot, and I know I did override something to put this one in, was in my export here. This one here, export as, is the one that I always use to export my patterns. And so that's now Command Option Shift E. So those are my two main shortcuts that I use. So to get this started, I could actually just go right into transform each, and I've already got this one set at 75, so I probably just recently did one at 75. This is going to be a copy of that original, so I'm going to move it down here a little bit so that it is, not on top of the original. So I'm going to move this down, let's say 14 inches. If you have strokes and effects, you might want to tick that off. I think I expanded everything, but just in case I didn't, I'll leave it on. It doesn't make any difference if it's there or not. I don't know what that is, some kind of stray pixel. It was probably way at the top that I hadn't noticed. And here I just make sure that I hit copy. So now I've got that original, and I could have gone a little bit lower. Doesn't really matter too much, but there's the original done. Now you can just continue with this one here and just reduce it down, and I would just do my Command Option Shift D, and then I've got all of the settings in there. So that'll be 75% of the 75% one, if that makes sense. And I just kind of continue in that vein. So I'll do it one more time, and okay. And oops, you know what I didn't do? I didn't hit copy. So you want to always hit copy so that you've got all of the different sizes. Now, what you want to do is go into each of these groups, and wow, that's a lot of stuff. Hang on, let me just shut these off a little bit. I want to get down to this background layer here, and I've got it labeled from when I was working in Affinity Designer. But I know that that's the square that's in the background, and it usually, the biggest one, that one that you did originally, is the bottom one, and it works its way up. So I've got this one here. Let me just enlarge here it's not like you're going to really see anything happening, but you're going to see everything happening more here in the layers palette. So I am going to duplicate that. So I just do copy, and then I do paste in back or front. Doesn't really matter because it's going to be made into an artboard. So that back, doesn't even matter which one, just stay on the one that's selected. And then I have the shortcut Command 9 to make it into an artboard. I think that Command 9 was something that I learned from Bonnie Christine, but I can't remember now. Too many classes. And you know what? I just go through and I do the same thing. So I'll go down and find that background for the next one here, copy, Command B, Command 9, and I've got that artboard done. And oh wow, my Illustrator's getting slow. It's got a lot of stuff going on here. I don't even look at what's on my screen. I am just basically going into these groups and making the artboard for each one. So as you can see, I need to do this one. So that was this one, I'm sure. Generally I go through and I have all of these things closed off so it's faster. But okay, copy, Command B, Command 9. And I've got now all my artboards, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if they'll be numbered that way because I've already worked in here, but yeah, usually they are. Okay, so it doesn't matter what they're numbered. It makes no difference. Then what I do is now I do that Command Option Shift E, which is export as. Now here, the important thing is you want to use artboards, and PNG is correct, and you hit export. It's going to export all of those. Make sure that you've got this set at the highest, and art optimize, very, very important. If you don't have that, you're likely to get that little white edge. And then we're going to say okay. And now in the background, it's saving that. So if I go to my folder, I'm going to find all of those. Now, one of the things that I have heard mentioned in many classes is if you do have that little white edge, a lot of times what people do is they'll go and they'll grab that colored background, and I'm going to just do it for all of them at the same time because it'll be quicker. Bear with me. So I'm going to choose that one. I'm going to hold down my Command key so I can grab that layer. So it's always just that background layer. And then I'll go into my swatches palette. And this is the fill that I can see here that I've used. So just in case, I'll drag it down here. I'm pretty sure it's this one here, but just to be on the safe side, I've dragged it down. I'm going to grab the stroke and fill it with that color. Where did it go? That's weird. Oh, it's there, but it's just so light. So now I've actually got the stroke on there too. And I think by default, it'll always be a 1-point stroke. So if you did find that you had a little bit of a white stroke around the edge, then I would recommend that you do that before you do your output. What I always do, that you go into Photoshop and you test your patterns. So the 4 that I just did are these top 4. I will open each of those. Okay, so they're open, and then what I do is open up my swatches, pattern swatches, and I'm going to put it in this French country just because I don't want to take the time to make a folder right now. Generally, I have them numbered and I have everything, pretty organized. So if I ever have to refer back, it's there. But I add them. So I'm adding each of the scales here. And then I have a tester document, 20 by 20 tester, and it's got a pattern layer. So now with this pattern layer, all I need to do is just click on the new pattern and it will replace. I just forgot that this is a half drop. So what I generally do for a half drop before I add them is I have an action here to do this, but I create a 20-inch swatch that, let me just rename this because my action relies on this being layer 0. I run the action, and then what it'll do is create a 20-inch document, which then, does the drop. You see how it drops down? And I flatten this and add it to my folder. And then I go and I test it on my document. So now I'll select this half drop, and you can see that the drop works perfectly. And also there is no sign anywhere of a white outline. It should be pretty much right in the middle here at the 10-inch mark, and pretty much right here at the 10-inch mark, and there's nothing. So that's the process I use. It usually goes faster. What I'm going to do is close down all my software and open it right up again, and then I can, get a little bit more speed going on here. But that's it. I've tested my pattern. I know it's good. Then I would take those PNG swatches that I created, upload them to Spoonflower, and I don't need to do the big double 20-inch square because on Spoonflower, of course, I can specify right away that it is a half drop. So I hope that helps. It seems like it took longer than I thought it would to explain it, but there you go. I could probably edit this to be half the length, but yeah, I'm just not going to do that. And I hope that's okay. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.